Have you ever noticed how some people just wake up before everyone else? I'm not talking about the person who drags themselves out of bed at 6:59 for a 7 o'clock alarm, half alive and thinking about their life choices. I mean the ones who wake up super early with no alarm, no chaos, no snoozing, just awake, calm, almost suspiciously peaceful. Maybe that's you. And if it is, you've probably heard people calling you crazy or saying that it's unhealthy to wake up as early as you do. But maybe you've also heard the opposite. People calling you disciplined, productive, and telling you that they wish they could do that too. But here's the thing. Waking up before everyone else isn't just about productivity hacks or hustle culture. It's not just about getting more done. There's something psychological happening under the surface, something deeper about control, identity, emotion, and how your brain relates to the world. Let me show you what's really going on. Picture this. It's 5:30 a.m. The world is quiet. No notifications, no messages, no demands. The house feels different. Even the air feels slower. If you're someone who wakes up early naturally, you probably know that feeling. It's not just silence, it's ownership. Psychologically, that early morning quiet creates something powerful. Perceived autonomy. Research in behavioral psychology shows that humans crave a sense of control over their environment. When you wake up before everyone else, you're stepping into a window of time that belongs only to you. No one is asking anything of you yet. Your identity isn't being pulled by roles. Employee, student, friend, sibling. For a short while, you are just you. That sense of control is deeply regulating to the brain, especially if you're someone who feels overwhelmed during the day. For highly conscientious people, those who score high on traits like responsibility and planning, early mornings feel like insurance. It's a buffer zone, a head start. Your brain relaxes because it feels prepared. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone who wakes up early is hyper-disciplined or productivity obsessed. In fact, some early risers are deeply sensitive people. If you think about it, daytime is loud, socially loud, emotionally loud. There are expectations, conversations, microjudgments, interactions that require constant social processing. For introverts or emotionally perceptive people, that processing is draining. So waking up early becomes a way of reclaiming mental energy before the world starts pulling at it. It's not about ambition, it's about peace. There's also biology at play. Your circadian rhythm, your internal clock, controls when you feel alert or sleepy. Some people are naturally morning types, often called larks in sleep research. Their cortisol, the hormone that helps you feel awake, rises earlier in the day. Their brain literally primes them for morning clarity. Meanwhile, night owls have that spike later. But here's what people don't realize. Being a morning person isn't just a sleep schedule. It shapes personality patterns. Studies have found that morning types tend to score higher in conscientiousness and lower in impulsivity. They're more likely to plan, to follow routines, to feel satisfaction from structure. But that doesn't mean they're rigid. It means their brain finds comfort in predictability. Think of it like this. If your mind is a city, some people prefer it when the traffic lights are synchronized and the streets are empty. Others thrive when the city is buzzing at midnight. Neither is better. They're just different rhythms. Now let's talk about something subtle. Emotional processing. Early morning is neurologically unique. Your brain is transitioning from the dream-heavy emotional processing of REM sleep into conscious awareness. That in-between state, when you first wake up, is actually highly creative. The prefrontal cortex, the logical decision-making part of your brain, is not fully online yet. Meanwhile, the emotional and imaginative parts are still active. That's why so many writers, thinkers, and creators historically favored early mornings. Not because they were trying to be productive robots, but because that mental state is different, softer, more intuitive. When you wake up early regularly, you start building a relationship with that quiet mental space. You might journal, think, reflect. Even if you're just sipping coffee and staring out a window, something is happening. You're integrating thoughts before the world interrupts them. And here's the philosophical twist. People who wake up before everyone else often feel slightly separate from the crowd. Not in a lonely way, more like they exist just a few minutes ahead of the world. There's a subtle psychological satisfaction in that. You're not reacting, you're initiating. But let's be honest, not everyone who wakes up early does it for peaceful reasons. Sometimes it's anxiety. If you've ever woken up at 5 a.m. with your brain already running through to-do lists, scenarios, or worst-case outcomes, That's a different pattern. For some people, early waking is hypervigilance. The brain wakes early because it's scanning for threats or unfinished tasks. Anxious brains hate unpredictability, so they wake up early to get ahead of it. The key difference is how it feels. Does waking up early feel grounding? Or does it feel urgent, calm, or pressured? Your answer says a lot about the psychological driver behind it. Let me tell you a small story. Imagine two people waking up at 5:30 a.m. One stretches, smiles slightly, makes coffee, maybe reads a few pages of a book. The other grabs their phone immediately, checks emails, feels their chest tighten slightly. Same behavior, different psychology. This is why behavior alone never tells the full story. It's the emotional context underneath that matters. There's also identity involved. Once you start seeing yourself as the early riser, it becomes part of your self-concept, and humans are incredibly motivated to act consistently with their identity. If you believe you're disciplined, you behave in disciplined ways. If you see yourself as someone who values quiet reflection, you protect that time. It becomes self-reinforcing. But here's something people rarely admit. Waking up early can also feel like a quiet rebellion. In a world that constantly pushes late-night scrolling, endless streaming, and social noise, choosing to wake before sunrise feels intentional. It's almost countercultural. You're stepping outside the default pattern. And psychologically, stepping outside the default feels powerful. Now, does waking up early make you more successful? Not automatically. That's a myth we've glamorized. Success isn't tied to a clock. What matters is alignment. If your natural rhythm matches early mornings, you'll likely feel more focused, more stable, more emotionally regulated. If it doesn't, forcing it might backfire. Your brain performs best when its biology and lifestyle are aligned. For some people, that means 5 a.m. For others, it means midnight clarity. But if you're someone who wakes up before everyone else, and it feels good, there's something beautiful about that. You're carving out solitude in a world that rarely gives it away freely. You're giving your brain space before it's flooded with demands. And in that space, something important happens. Self-awareness grows. Because when it's quiet, you can hear yourself think. And maybe that's the real psychology here. It's not about productivity. It's about ownership. It's about the emotional safety of knowing you've already met yourself before meeting the world. So the next time someone calls you crazy for waking up early, or overly disciplined, or weird, just smile a little. Because maybe your brain just prefers sunrise over noise. Or maybe you're someone who wishes you could wake up early, but can't. That's okay too. The goal isn't to copy someone else's rhythm. It's to understand your own. Ask yourself this: when do I feel most clear? Most grounded? Most myself? That's the real question. And if early mornings are your thing, protect them. They're not just ours, they're psychological territory. Before we wrap up, I want you to reflect for a second. When you wake up, whatever time that is, do you feel like you're chasing the day or beginning it? There's a difference. If this resonated with you, let me know down in the comments. Are you an early riser? A night owl? Somewhere in between? And more importantly, why do you think your brain chose that rhythm? Because the clock might tell time, but your psychology tells the story.